Hey guys, so today what we're going to be going through is some VScode, which stands for Visual Studio Code. So if you haven't downloaded that, please download that ASAP. And yeah, we're just going to make a small little website like this, my first website, and just having a look at this. Yeah, bit of image alteration, applying some different CSS to give yourself some bold stuff and things like that. So to get started on this, we're going to go here to Explorer. I'm going to go Open Folder. So I've got my HTML folder here, and I've just been mucking around with it, make sure everything works in that one. So we're going to go HTML2. Hopefully you just make a normal HTML folder. So you'll just have that one there, click on that. I've got my images in there ready to go. And then we go up here, we're going to start a new file, okay, and that's going to go with index.html. Oops. Alright, and that's what we're going to start there. So you can see here that it started ready to go. So generally the first thing you always want to do is dictate the doc type. So when we do that, what we're going to be doing is putting in a I really want to press that, because last time I pressed that count was making silly, but in that one there, and some doc type so it knows that it's going to be HTML, okay? From there we're putting in some, we're putting in this here. Alright, so this is saying that this is all going to be our website, okay? And let's open this up a little bit there, okay? Now first thing we want to do is put in a header, alright? Or a head, sorry, and then we're going to open that up again. So I kind of like to do this scrolling down a little bit, okay, and then from that we're going to title my first website. Cool. One other thing that I forgot to cover actually is putting in, so especially live server and Prettier, putting in those extensions down there. You search and press install, and it's a really quick process, okay? So yeah, now back to this one here. So sorry if I forgot to say that. We are going to be using live server very often. So we've got a header in there, and so one thing we can actually do there is if I press Control S, and that'll save that, and I'm going to right click, and I'm going to go to Open Live Server. Alright, and we've got that there. So my first website, we've obviously got my other one there. And you see, so it generally runs on, so that's your port that it's running on there. So you might have a warning come up in the bottom right of your screen telling you what port. So you see we're on 5501. Okay. So what we've done is change the title of the website up the top there, okay? Now moving on, so we can do some different things. So this doesn't really start looking excellent until we start working on the body of our website, okay? So what we're going to be doing is putting our image in. But one of the first things we actually need to do over here is open a new folder, and we're going to put in images. Alright, so we've got our images folder here. Alright, we can drag and drop our image in. So if I put in this one just there, images folder, it should appear in VScode so you know what you're getting. That's just one that's been created for me from ChatGPT. And then in these little quotations here, images, and then it'll come up with your image that you've got in there. So you've got that there, and then we'll also chuck in a couple other parts here. So we'll go P for paragraph, and we'll put in Blackston. Alright, and then we'll also put in, I don't know, something different. Learning, I think I'll put in learning HTML. Did that for the last one as well. So now if I press Control S and then open our live server back up, alright, you can see here it's made my image, well, I guess the same size as it was generated on ChatGPT, and then it's got my writing down the bottom there, okay? So what I want to do is do a little bit of playing around with this to make it all look a little bit nicer, okay? And that's where CSS kind of comes into it, okay? So what we want to do under our So under our title, next to title. Okay, we're going to style. Right, and then give ourselves a little bit of space. So we want to mess with our image a little bit. So we're going to write image. Oh, did I miss that? There we go. Alright, and then we're putting a couple things in there. So what we want to be doing is making our width and then 100 pixels. Okay, so then if I press Control S, let's see what that's done to our live server. Okay, there you go. We don't need to refresh or anything, it'll just come up. So you can see there that that's come up all square. Now, we can make that look a little bit nicer by messing with the radius. Alright, and we could make that say 10. No, we'll do 20. 20 pixels, alright, Control Save. Alright. And then opening that back up, you see that it's cut our corners off. So generally what would happen is that if we make it, so if we make it 100 by 100, so you want to see that I have those different folders there. So if I, files there, sorry. So if I open this up and I put in a 100 by 100 pixel drawing, so I'll put that in there, it's just a little bit smaller. Okay, so what we can actually do, if I replace this one, with that. So if I replace that with that one, so I know this is 100 by 100 pixels, and so you could ask ChatGPT to do that, and or you could edit it like I did on Photoshop, okay? And then I mess with that border radius and make that a half of what that is, and then press Control S, and I'll open this up so you see that it's made it round, okay? So something to think about depending on what you want your image to look like. Now, one thing we can also do is float our, float our text. So we're going to float that over to the left there, and then we're going to make a margin. Okay, so that's, so if I press Control S, we can have a look on this again. You can see that it's really close to my image. Alright, and we can give ourselves a little bit of space there, okay? And by doing that, we go margin to the right, okay, thinking about that. And then we'll go 20 pixels. Okay, cool. And so then that's all in there. Control S. Let's double check again. Alright, and it's really good. So this is why the live server extension is really important, because you can continuously check and make sure things are happening. So now one other thing we can do is with our paragraph. Okay, what we can do is we want to make our writing or our username bold. Okay, so what we can do for that is we've got that one there now. And we go, oh, sorry, I forgot to type font weight. Font weight's down here. And you can see here it gives you a lot of options, and I'm just going to go bold. Okay, Control S. And let's have a look at what that's done. See there, it's made all of our font bold. So now we need to start putting in some rules, okay? And so to do that, we need to actually dictate what certain things are, okay? So if we come down here and we see P, so that's a username, and that's just some normal writing, just saying that I'm learning HTML, okay? So what we can actually do is put in a class. So we've got just there, and we press space and we type class. Okay, username. Alright, so now everything set that we tell it's a username is going to think that it's a username, okay? So over here as well, what we can do is put in username. That did not work. Is that going to work for me? I reckon it will. So let's have a check. You see it's taking it all the way. And so what we can actually do is, I just realised I literally forgot one thing when I was double checking. So when we're doing this one here, I just needed a dot. Control S. You can see there it's made my username highlighted. So hopefully you can see a couple of different ways you could use this, whether you want like an online, you turn this into a, what are they called? The little code things you can scan, and then you can make a little business card. or whatever. So just a couple of little bits here that we've used to make something just to start off your website journey. So hopefully you guys have been able to learn some stuff. And yeah, try to do a little bit more with it, whether you add in 2 different images, whether you put them different spaces on the page. That'd be really good to see. So yeah, we're going to be moving on next time, and maybe macking around with some AI and what that produces for us through our HTML and VS Code journey.